Hey,
What's up, man?
how you doing?
I'm good.
Well, I'd like to welcome our guests at home who are or our audience members at home. Let's start over. I'd like to welcome our audience members at home for tuning into another episode of Candy Between Company. Today's esteemed company, David Shabtai. Thank you for joining us, David.
Thank you for having me. No,
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we could do this.
I know you're just... I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and you've been a fan of Candy for a long time.
Very long
So it's
time.
really nice that we were able to marry the two and finally have you out here, because you're not always out in LA. So
I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
No, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad that you're doing this. I think this is important work. Honestly,
you.
I think that the world needs more people talking about candy and talking to each other and loving one another.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's scary times out there, and you know, we can focus on that. We can go down the rabbit hole.
Let's not.
We can also enjoy a little bit of candy, have a little bit of a sugar rush in your day.
I think that's
That's
the way to do it. There are enough doom and gloom podcasts. So
yeah. Let's just have a moment.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to childhood. You know, I was swimming laps the other day.
Yeah.
And I saw there was this woman dutifully swimming laps next to me, and then a minute later she was doing a handstand in the pool. I just was drawing, she was doing a handstand, and it occurred to me that there are so few places where you have the freedom to always be a child.
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
the pool is one of them.
It's very whimsical.
A trampoline's one of them,
For sure.
and like eating some candies.
You should get a trampoline.
I think I might get a trampoline.
Nice. I used to have a cookie jar in
Yeah.
my kitchen, and it was like a little girl, and she was holding all these cookies, and this is maybe too gross for your podcast, but she had one in between her legs, like just sort of like holding one cookie, was like, and I was like 4 or 5. I remember I used to just fondle the shit out of the cookie jar. So this is really like my first interaction with a cookie jar since then, and I don't know.
I can see you're getting quite handsy.
Find myself
I think
sexualizing this hippo here.
I think, as you are getting handsy with her, you should know her name. Her current working name is Frederica or Freddie or Fred, but we are taking name suggestions because we've not yet settled on one.
Right.
If there's something that inspires
Why
you.
Frederica? I like that. It's a good name.
I don't know, actually, the origin story of Frederica. It felt probably
Hippos
just
are-
right at the time.
Hippos are big now, right? The pygmy hippo mudang, people are going crazy for that.
Yeah.
Me and Austin, your wife,
Yeah.
spent time with a pygmy hippo. You were there, weren't you? Didn't you came to that birthday party at?
No.
You weren't there for
No.
Lily, no?
No, I would remember a birthday party with a pygmy hippo.
Right in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, no. This was before my wife and I were man and wife. We were still dating, and we had gotten into a fight the weekend before, and
My bad.
I was no longer invited to the discussed birthday party. But it sounded like a great party.
It was incredible.
She did. While we were in a fight, I was still brought a hat and basketball jersey that was swag. That was part of the party.
I made all that merch. It was good.
Yeah, it was great merch.
Yeah.
Great merch. I'm a huge fan of merch. We're a little early in the Candy Between Company podcast era, but know that when you come back,
Yeah.
expect that I will have some Candy Between Company themed merch for you.
And I think it'll be probably really good. I used that bag from your guys' wedding for everything.
Oh, thank you. I fought very hard to get that bag of a size that I felt people would continue to use it after the wedding.
No, it was maybe a bit too big for the actual wedding.
Yeah.
But it was perfect. It's perfect for everything else.
Like a nice little gym bag, maybe a weekender,
Fantastic.
whatever it
Use
is.
it as a weekender.
Yeah,
as a gym
I
bag.
think I've got a pet peeve of swag that like you get and then throw away. So it's like if you're going to give something to somebody, you want it to be usable.
I have everything from your wedding. I have my crayon. I have the napkins. I stole a picture of a framed photograph of Austin. I keep it on my bookshelf.
I love hearing that. That was our intention, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you got the assignment and ran with it. Never had a doubt.
Right.
It's that type of chutzpah and initiative that really got you into this seat here today.
Yes, thank you.
And why don't we circle back and just Tell me a little bit about your life with candy. Maybe like,
Yeah.
was candy welcome in the household? when
Very
you were
much
growing
so.
up?
Yeah, there were no rules about any sort of dietary anything. I mean, we were kosher. We
Yeah.
are. Yeah, and I have since started keeping kosher again,
Yeah.
like in the last couple of years. But no, there were no rules. It was all candy, all snacks, all junk food. And I don't know. I think I really went for the sour stuff. I was like a big sour belts, and that was back in the day when like you would like go to a candy store. I mean, I actually don't really feel like you have as much of this as you used to, where you were filling up, a bag and getting the bag weighed. So I would go sour belts, and it was in the days like Dylan's Candy Bar just opened, and Sweets from Heaven was on like 86th and Lex. They were crazy, and then there were the Tasty Delight franchise thing really
Yeah,
popped off in New York,
yeah.
and those guys all had also like candy stores there. And I remember I used to buy from them. They would get these tubs of sour belts, like the wholesale sour belt tubs, and they had like these little plastic things, and I would take them to school with bags. I would sell them on the bus, and I would do my own thing where like I would weigh it out in my hand and I would just, name a price. And that was like, yeah, the beginning of entrepreneurship for me in a way, was just selling candy at school. And then they got banned. I think that happens every generation. There's like, you're selling Pokemon cards, you're selling candy, and then they come in and they tell you can't be running those businesses anymore. I think it's terrible that you're discouraging entrepreneurship with young people, educators.
That's what this country was built on.
Exactly.
Was entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So in a way, and this may not be a bridge too far, candy was sort of the kernel for future success in business for you. And
Yeah.
really was a place where
I mean,
you
I felt like a drug dealer, honestly, because it was like, I was fifth grade, fourth grade. You're giving people
that's the
drugs,
good
basically.
stuff.
They're
That's
eating
the good
these,
stuff in fifth grade. Yeah.
bag it up, and
Yeah.
it felt cool.
Hey, first sour belts on me.
No, I would never. There's, they knew what they were getting.
Well, I love that. I had a birthday party at Dylan's Candy Bar, so that place holds a very fond spot in my heart. I share a name. Love a good Dylan, especially if it's spelled the right way.
Sure.
So, that's what I'm all about. Now, as you've gotten older, you still eating some candy?
Yeah, it's the last thing that I'll give up. Like I've sort of given up potato chips and soda, and like the last like couple of years, I think I've gotten into like amazing, incredible shape.
Yeah, because he's in great shape. So
But-
for somebody that was eating candy and had no rules as a youngster, I'm surprised that
I can't give up candy though.
Yeah.
Like candy is very important to me. I like try not to go out of my way to get it, but if it's there, I go in and with absolutely no self-control at all. Yeah.
Well, one of the, nice things and inciting instances for this podcast was that I was like, well, where's the candy in my life?
Right.
And where's that joy? And can we schedule it in?
Do you think that you will have a candy positive household, like when you have eventually beautiful children with your wife? Do you think that it'll be a...
Yeah, I think it's going to be a candy positive household.
Okay.
I think it's look, you want I want the kids to be first getting it from mom and I,
Right.
as opposed to a young
Right.
David
On the
Shabtai on
streets.
the bus,
On the
just
streets,
like
God forbid.
just weighing it out in his hand, being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you can't get this at home. Here you go." Teach them responsible usage of candy at home. I think
I think that's also the key, because I didn't have any guardrails.
I didn't either. So that's where I was going to go into. I will be more judicious than my parents were. I was one of the few children that got cavities on their baby teeth.
I've never had a cavity
Wow.
in my life. Never had a cavity, never had a filling, never had anything. I went to the dentist for the first time in like 5 years, 3 months ago. I'm 33. They said I have the teeth of a 22-year-old.
Wow.
And no, it was
How'd
great.
that make you feel?
Really good about myself.
Yeah.
I used to take warheads and rub them in the leftover sour sugar from the sour belts in the bag. I used to take like 6 of them, put them all in my mouth, like do the like sour, challenge thing. I was like spray it with the warhead spray. Like I was really into just pushing the limits of candy, both like, from a perspective of enjoyment,
too.
but
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
endurance and
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
I would like burn my tongue. Like I would have like streaks like
Yeah.
on my tongue, like burnt.
So not recommended.
Definitely not. No, you need guardrails. You need to put
Yeah,
guardrails
yeah.
on the way that your kids are using candy because they will abuse it.
Yeah. So, you know, a little PSA for you at home. But I'm not going to be one of those parents that, like, I don't think at least, you know, takes the good stuff and replaces it with like the healthy stuff.
Right.
But
I
you
think
know,
as long as the kids are eating vegetables and like they're exposed to a lot of different foods,
yeah,
like it's okay to have candy, right? But if all they are eating is like, you know, a hot dog and macaroni and cheese and candy, it's a problem. You have to really make a diverse diet, and then
you know, everything in moderation.
yeah.
The only issue is throughout my life, the only thing I've done in moderation is moderation.
Right.
So we're working on that. It's a process.
Yeah, I'm working on that too.
Well, I got to tell you, I've picked out a little something for you in here inside of Sensual Frederica.
Specifically for me.
It is specifically for you. Granted, I still feel good about what I've selected.
Right.
But with the background,
The context is sour stuff,
I was
yeah.
oscillating between two items.
Okay.
And like, honestly, I feel like I was in the range on both. I'm having a little bit of picker's remorse. I might have gone with the other to really, that one would have really gone right through. But I feel good about what I've got here.
Okay.
And what I've got, are you excited?
I am.
All right. So what I've got is, it's both a little exotic, both in the name, and but while it plays with sort of the foreign, you know, exotic, tall, strong person from the north, it then comes in with sort of American capitalism, commerciality, and really just sort of that basic homegrown.
I have absolutely no sense of what this could possibly be at all.
Well, let me break it open for you. It's Swedish Fish.
Oh, hell yeah.
But Snapple.
Wow.
It's Snapple Swedish Fish.
Wow.
Now, in our pre-conversation, I learned that you have 120 bags of not Swedish fish made by
Yeah, who is it?
Mondelez.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
You have the more proper. I actually don't know.
Something with a cake, whatever. The real Swedish Fish. My sister is a fiend for that, and I placed like a wholesale order. I'm the candy entrepreneur, I guess. I placed a wholesale order. I have 140 bags in the trunk of my car.
140. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so. Energetically, maybe I just got wrapped up in it, and that's why my hand went Swedish. It was just the pull of the whole sea of Swedish fish that was parked outside.
Snapple.
But why don't you hold this and just look at it? Tell the audience your first impressions.
I mean, just ingredients alone. You know, these are standard Swedish fish.
Is this kosher?
So, yeah, it looks like. No, actually, there isn't any kosher label. You'd see an OU or something. There isn't, though, anything in here. I mean, I was telling you before I came on, you asked me if I had dietary restrictions. I'm kosher, so I don't eat pork. There isn't any, what's it called? Gelatin in this. It's just cornstarch and corn syrup, you know, like good old fashioned American.
Yeah.
You know, which is funny because some gelatin comes from fish, so there could actually be fish in these if they wanted. But no, it's just the cornstarch and carnauba wax. So yes,
We think we can eat it.
These are kosher, but I wonder why they wouldn't kosher certify them. That just feels not inclusive.
Or is it just an extra fee that maybe they didn't want to pay?
It could be.
But
I feel like
have
they're
organic
doing
fruit, but then going and getting it
Right.
stamped organic, my understanding is like it can be costly.
So they have the kiwi strawberry, the fruit punch, and the mango madness. Snapples. I love Snapples. Growing up, Snapples were everything to me. I knew a kid who won the Snapple Fat contest.
I'm unfamiliar with the Snapple Fat contest.
So
what do you tell me about it?
You would submit like this is like by mail, I think. You submitted like a Snapple fact, and his fact that he submitted was the Empire State Building is the only building in New York that has its own zip code. And what they did was they threw you a parade on your street.
Wow.
They came with Snapple and like, you know, a little band,
awesome.
and they did like a parade for him.
And that's true?
Yeah, it
Wow.
is true. It is true. And some of the Snapple facts, I don't know if you know this, ended up not being true, or I remember hearing that. I don't really know. But this is very fun.
What sort of ground can we stand on if we can't trust the Snapple facts?
I mean, yes, with everything that's happening in the world, right?
So you excited to dig into this?
I really am.
Before we do, how about you hand me that? I want to take a look at it.
Of course, please.
So yeah, it's you know, I've always been a fan of the Swedish Fish. I've always been a fan of Snapple. I'm not sure if I'm going to be a fan of Swedish Fish Snapple flavored.
How do you feel about all these like crossover, you know, things that are happening now within the candy and like cookie space? Like, if you've seen like Oreos goes crazy, they had like a Dr. Pepper Oreo, and like
I've actually been enjoying the Oreo protein powder since we tried it on an episode of Candy Between
it's Oreo branded, like it's
Oreo
Ghost.
It's Oreo, yeah, it's Ghost.
Ghost,
yeah,
yeah,
and
Ghost.
Oreo is
Oreo
is really gone. I mean, I've had their sodas. I've had their one of my first experiences with combining. It was a seminal moment in my childhood where I loved popsicles and I love Coca-Cola. And I remember going, light bulb, I'm going to make Coca-Cola popsicles. Tasted like water.
Really?
And that's when I learned, you know, there wasn't enough syrup to really make the pop. The density wasn't right.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned,
the distribution probably gets
putting
fucked up.
two things I love together doesn't necessarily make something I'll love more. That was like a 4 or 5 year old aha moment.
I feel like that's such a thing you'd see on TikTok right now. It's just like, you know, make your own, you know what
Except
I mean?
on TikTok, they would be like, this is the best thing I've ever had. And oh my God. And it would like, because they'd add syrup or they'd do something else and just not tell you about it. But let me tell you, go try it at home. Not very good.
This just feels very, I mean, I had no idea what you were talking about when you started to describe this, but it's exactly, you were dead on just as far as like this being, I don't know, just a peak example of late stage capitalism, right? Like the mashup, the collaboration between Snapple and Swedish Fish. It's very like...
It's why we can't get a new movie.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's very like Marvel. It's very...
It's like we exhausted all ideas. But you know what? I bought it. It got me.
We're going to eat it.
We're going to eat it. Will I eat it twice? I don't know.
If you didn't have a candy podcast...
twice? I don't know that they care.
If you didn't have a candy podcast, would you buy this?
Probably not, but that's only because I was eating less candy before I had a candy podcast. So I was just grabbing less things off the shelf.
I want to know, do you think this is supposed to be a gateway drug to Swedish Fish for people who like Snapple? Or do you think this is like, you know, because obviously people who like Swedish Fish are going to keep buying Swedish Fish. Do you think they want maybe, let me try something new? Like,
I'm guessing it's like,
what are they doing?
It's like, did you like either?
Uh-huh.
And have you not had either in a while? And maybe this will just like put it back on your brain. Like either if you like Swedish Fish, but you haven't had them in a while and you're like, oh, I'll have a Snapple Swedish Fish. Or you haven't had a Snapple in a while, but you liked it. And you're like, oh, it's in Swedish Fish. I should try it.
Right.
So, you know, not only is our hippo a little bit trending, but one of the other things we like to do trending is there's this, have you seen the ASMR videos? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a little quiet here.
Cool.
We're just gonna, I'm gonna do it on my camera, but then you can do it in yours, and we're just gonna. Thank you.
Nice gush.
Firmness you're used to.
It's nice firmness.
Why don't you tear that bag open? Why don't we just sort of get in there? The smell? Did we get it? What's the first like sort of way? Like, does it?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit intense, honestly. This one has got to be, and this is the smell. This is the smell that comes out of the bag. I think this is probably the most flavorful. It's my guess. Kiwi strawberry.
Contemplating. Hit me with your first impressions. Do you even get a Snapple out of it, or is it really just a new flavor Swedish Fish that they just sort of put Snapple on there?
Doesn't even really taste that new.
Hmm.
You know, it kind of just tastes like,
Marketing?
yeah, like a
Yeah.
Swedish Fish. I mean, I understand, like, knowing that it's kiwi strawberry, I can get there in my mind.
Yeah.
But if you just handed me that,
Yeah.
I would think, you know, because they have the multicolored Swedish Fish, the green one and the orange
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And I feel like those
It's like
actually
the tropical
have,
Skittles versus normal Skittles. Like, yeah, we know you got different flavors.
I would say those actually have more distinct flavors than these. And they all smell the same.
Hmm.
That's the mango. The mango is far more pronounced. Here, you want to catch up? Do you want the kiwi?
I thought you'd never ask. Smells better than an actual fish. I'll give you that much. I know it's the same process, but for some reason I feel like maybe even like a little less firm than what I'm used to like a Swedish Fish being, and there definitely isn't. And maybe because I'm more used to just that red pop. I don't know what flavor I'm supposed to be expecting, but it was a light flavor. It was not a it wasn't a strong
No.
wasn't a strong power pack punch there.
That's how I
It
felt
was sort
too.
of like a was that kiwi grapefruit? What was the
That was the kiwi strawberry.
kiwi strawberry? There wasn't much kiwi, there wasn't much strawberry.
No.
And the color made me think of grapefruit, and so maybe I tasted more grapefruit than kiwi or strawberry, which suggests that I really just tasted a little bit of sugar and coloring.
Yeah, it's very much like the phenomenon of like the white airhead. You remember with like the question marks all over it? And
I
it was
loved
just
the
kinda
white
just-
airhead. Yeah,
But
I
what
loved
was it?
Yeah,
You know?
it was white.
It was just, it was
Yeah.
for you to kind of decide.
Yeah.
I remember they had like, it was like a game. Like you had to guess
Yeah,
what it was.
yeah,
And I
it's
don't think
like-
they ever told us.
The placebo was sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is
Okay.
more
Oh,
what they're
orange.
calling it. It's orange, but it's mango madness.
Okay. Okay, I got some mango in there.
Mm-hmm.
If the madness, yeah, actually, the more you bite, like bites 2, 3, and 4 unlock
Yeah.
a higher level of flavor. It's pretty mad.
I'll
I will
say,
give the mango madness a I
yeah,
will,
it's accurate. It's
yeah.
I-
Okay.
I'm wondering if this is like the carnauba wax cornstarch thing instead of gelatin, but they kind of they have a really, you know, they're like a lot of, I don't know if LA has this as much, but like a lot of like grocery stores in New York have like almost like private label Swedish Fish,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and like they
Yeah.
have a much more firm chew.
Is
you
it
know?
more of a rebound, or is it just a thicker? Is it just a thick? What?
I think it's like,
describe
I think
that
off
from
the
it.
jump,
Yeah.
there's a rebound, and then as you start chewing, it sticks to your teeth more. You know, it's like you're doing a little bit more work. Where I feel like this really just melts down into sugar with your saliva. Like it just really kind of starts to decompose in your mouth. You're already like halfway digesting whatever this is.
Should we try another flavor? in
Yeah,
there
there's
and
one
see?
more.
And-
There's
and
the
really
red, which is the
Love a good red.
fruit punch.
Fruit punch. Truly just says we just mixed a bunch of stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just gonna taste like candy. Why don't we really focus on sort of that mouthfeel
Yeah.
score as we dive into this one?
Yeah.
Even before the mouthfeel score, just because we've been on flavor profile,
That's where
I'm gonna
my
go ahead and
hand
say this is a fruit punch.
You think so?
I felt like this was like a fruit, not a great fruit punch, not the best fruit punch I ever had, and certainly not as much of a crescendo of flavor as the mango madness. Nothing mad about this fruit punch,
Yeah.
but it was a fruit punch.
I guess I don't know if I necessarily agree. I felt like it's like a I mean, what is a fruit punch, right? It feels like a red base with like a little extra something.
Other fruit profile, other things.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them fruit. I'm very partial to, I mean, it's an extremely sugary, nearly toxic and intoxicating beverage, but the Snapple fruit punch I really like. I haven't had it in years, but it's amazing. You need to cut that with water also. It's like, it's really strong.
It's like a
Like
real...
like it leads to congestion, I think. Like there's just so much syrup in there that it like forms a layer on your throat.
You just immediately get gout. It's just like straight through main lining.
Main line of sugar. But
do we think there was like a flavorist from Snapple on the floor with the Swedish Fish guys, or do we think this was just like, hey, you just give us a few things and we're just gonna like, we know it's enough to just throw Snapple on top.
Right. I mean, Mondelez is a massive corporation.
It's a big corporation.
I'm sure that they
have processes.
Yeah, I'm sure that they have. I mean, I wonder, are they licensing the flavors? Yeah, Snapple's artificially flavored Snapple is a trademark of Snapple Beverage Corporation, used under license. 2023. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so curious about why. Why did they do this? What is it? Because obviously they know, right? Like they know that maybe it's just about having this in a gas station with the rest of the Swedish Fish will push you to the drink fridge, right? Like, or something. I don't know. Where did you buy this? Where did you find it?
It's definitely a gas station.
Right.
And it was probably a focus group.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just like some sort of corporate focus group. I think what we're really getting at here is we love Swedish Fish. We love Snapple. We're a little underwhelmed with our Swedish Fish Snapple experience.
We're a little underwhelmed. Like, I don't need to go back in here. I will. Because it's sugar.
Yeah, it's good.
But sugar. Like, no, I'm not crazy about it. I'll take the high end.
Yeah.
Guys I have in my trunk all day over this collab.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there one bit. Now, we do have a section on the show called One Good Fact, where I leave the audience with one good fact. But I will say, I'm throwing my one good fact right out of the window. And I'm just going to reiterate that Snapple Parade winning fact.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
So our one good fact is the Empire State Building is the only building in the world?
With I think it's
in the country?
In the country with its own zip code.
With its own zip code.
Yeah.
Wow. Not even the Pentagon. Pentagon zip code is probably secret.
Yeah. I wonder how you,
probably just
you can't have a secret zip code. No one would be able to send you a letter.
Just it was in invisible ink.
I would like to, now we need to fact check it.
Yeah, now we need to fact check it.
But it's got to be true.
Anyways.
He won the parade.
Well, I really appreciate you being here.
I'm so glad.
And I loved the thoughtful analysis of the Snapple Swedish Fish. I wish we'd come away really with a new love of our life as opposed to a little disappointed. One of the things I've not been disappointed with is my friendship with you.
Me either, ever.
And so I, let this be the first of many. And one of these times we're going to find a real exciting candy. And I, give it a try at home if you want.
No pressure.
But, go in with extraordinarily low expectations and you might be pleasantly surprised, or you might, at least not be disappointed like David and I were. So, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Candy Between Company. And on behalf of David and I, we really hope that you find just a little bit of sweetness out there in your day-to-day. Thank you. Bye. And see you.
Nice.